All right, so in this video, we're going to go over the 5 stats that you're able to build with JINWOO. And I mean, this is a pretty important thing, I would say. I mean, building it correctly is definitely something that could probably change your account, change how quick you actually clear some of the content. So we're going to go over how to get pretty much all the stats beyond just like the best stat spread that you could make yourself. There's other ways to get, for example, all the stats available in the stats being, if we check it out, you could get attack, defense, HP, crit rate, crit damage, additional MP, cooldown reduction, and precision. So we're going to get through all of that today, while also in the same video, you're going to check the timestamps if you want to see this part, being how to level up JINWOO, the main ways to do it, and we're going to be good for that. Now we're going to get into just the basics, explaining every single stat, all right? And then from that point, I'm just going to go a bit further and like kind of explain where you get each stat and certain things like that, and how you might want to approach this free to play and pay to win, because I do think there's a bit of a discrepancy between the two. So strength is pretty straightforward, okay? It's going to be attack, right? You increase your attack, increasing your damage. That's it, right? JINWOO scales completely off of attack with all of his skills, so there's not really something to worry about there. Now, Vitality is giving both defense and HP. And I mean, overall, a lot of people like to stay away from Vitality just because, I mean, this game you could dodge, right? So it's really a worthless stat. You really want to do as much damage as you can. So that one kind of leaves the scene completely, right? Now, Agility gives crit rate and crit damage. And this one you can't get everywhere. You could get in certain places. And we're going to talk about that right after we finish explaining all of them. Obviously increasing your stats. Now, there's 2 stats that you're able to max out completely. And that's going to be both crit rate and precision. Precision, you could get up to 99%. And basically, crit rate could go up to 50%, all right? So that's just how it's going to be. So, of course, you got to remember, there's a max, right? So you got to kind of play around with that sometimes, especially later game. Maxing them out while being able to have other stats is going to be the way to go. Now, intelligence is going to be giving you additional MP and cooldown reduction. Now, I've tried this out a bit, and honestly, I don't really see a use for it too often. I mean, you get MP back by just attacking with your basic attack, and then at the same time, you could also get additional MP in your gear. So I don't really see the biggest point. For the most part, I've been chilled without really putting any stats into intelligence, right? So that's something big. Now, precision, it's going to be increasing your base amount of damage. It's going to give you perception, it's going to give you precision. It's called perception, but it's going to give you precision, okay? And this, as I said, could go up to 99%. So this one is definitely a big one because early on, like, there's 2 random aspects to this game, both crit and then also precision. So it's going to increase your base amount of damage, which is going to increase the total amount of damage you do. Because, for example, instead of doing 100 base damage, you'll do 300 base damage up to like 600, right? Just giving an example. I don't really have the exact numbers for how this really works, right? Precision is definitely one that you want to build out quite heavily. So the 3 main ones that many people invest in is strength, agility, and perception. Okay, those are the 3 main ones. Now, early game, you will probably see a lot more value with precision, all right? Now, the main reason is because, I mean, especially if you're not summoning a lot, you're not really going to have high precision. You're not going to have high perception. And let's go over how exactly we get all the stats, okay? So obviously we have it from the stats we get here, the stat points. But for attack, obviously from gear, right, all that main stuff, right? Same with defense and HP. Now for crit rate and crit damage, I'd say this is pretty important. So just make sure that you know this, that the only places you could get crit rate really in is going to be in the left side. So you could only get your crits from this side. So you can see crit rate. Okay, crit rate, I don't think I have them in these 2. My luck for crit has been super unlucky. So it's only the helmet, body, gloves, and boots. Now for crit damage, you can only get it on the right side, being for the necklace, bracelet, earrings, and the ring. So you have to make sure that you play around with that and kind of know that, right? It's very important. I mean, I've been getting, I'd say, I mean, just this giving an extra, 2? I mean, that's a pretty good amount of crit damage overall. So that's the only way you could get it besides really the stat points and obviously weapon passives, stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. Now, next up is precision. So obviously precision, the main way is going to be from stat points, but then also weapon dupes. Weapon dupes is the big way to actually get precision. you could see that here I have 3,500, here I got 2,500. So the first dupe on SSRs gives 2,000, which means once you get like, I'd say a good 3 SSR weapons for like a free-to-play account, after that, you might even want to put like in your wish list 1 new SSR weapon and one of your highest level ones to be able to put precision into it, right? Because that extra 2,000 precision is huge, right? Huge. Right now, I'm already at 77% precision with only 2 weapons, right? And this is giving me the bulk of it being a total of 6,000 alongside. I'm pretty sure the other 600 is from there. As you can see, I have 6,600. So you will actually get insane value, not even just because of the extra dupes it gives, but because of the precision stat. Now, one big thing to note is that the total amount of a SR weapon, which we could actually check it out here for ourselves, how much each of them give. So the first dupe gives 900, which is 1,100 less than the first dupe on an SSR, and then it gives 300, which is 200 less. So in total, you're getting 2,000 here, where in total on a SSR weapon, you would be getting 4,000 precision, which is like half, right? It is half, but the thing is, as a free-to-play, you're getting way more SR dupes than SSR dupes, obviously, unless you have Giga Luck. I've seen, bro, Vulcan's account is insane. He's just like DMing me like, oh yeah, I got another dupe of an SSR. Oh yeah, I got back-to-backs. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So unless your luck is like Vulcan, just don't expect to get many SSRs. So building some SRs will actually help you in building this precision stack. Now, usually you do want to kind of max it out, okay? I would say like maybe going around 90 to 99% late game, right? This is something you're trying to strive towards. In general, it seems like the consensus is really to go 4-1 for strength and perception, okay? Or like 3-1, anything in that range, you want to give more strength than perception. Now, of course, agility is also thrown into the mix, where I feel like that is more of a later game thing, but also something to note is that if you have the plum sword, right, this is giving you extra crit damage, extra crit rate, and then also with dupes starting to get more crit chance. So you're going to need less crit rate in general for JINWOO. And that's when you kind of take into account, right, like, okay, plum's great, right, going to give you good crit, all that good stuff. So you don't need as much crit in those instances to be able to crit with JINWOO. So for me, and I think especially when you have plum, you don't really need to consider agility almost at all. I think building it a bit, especially once you get perception up to max, is for sure the way to go. Okay, once you get perception up to max, you could probably do like 4-1 for strength and agility after getting perception. And I'm pretty much at that point, right? I am definitely low leveled. Okay, I admit it, right? 65 for how long I've been playing. Well, I did miss a good like almost 2 weeks. So that is the unfortunate part. But we're just gonna go into this, okay? I have to, okay, we're just gonna go like this. It should be quicker. So we're gonna put a good like 310. We'll go 310. I don't know why I just didn't click the +10. And then we're going to go into this. Okay. So for this, right, boom, we get more attack. And I'm very close to being maxed out on my precision. One more dupe in my weapon. And basically, I'm going to get it. So for now, I'm going to start investing more into crit. So I have only 27%, but Plum's going to make that higher. Definitely low crit for sure. For sure. But that is, if anything, in my case, more of a gear thing than anything. And remember, it can only max out at 50%. So I'm halfway there without much into gear and 0 into agility. So once I start maxing it out, my JINWOO build will be a lot higher, or will be a lot better in that case, right? For right now, I am 100% losing out on not having very high crit rate, but there's 2 things that I'm aware of, being plum, right? And then also because, I mean, now I'm going to be able to start grinding gear heavily. So that's going to be one very, very big thing in this, right? For sure. Now, as for leveling up, okay, I think this is pretty important, but obviously it's pretty straightforward. They don't really make it hard. They just make it long, okay? So story is going to be your main way, okay? Story is your main way. You want to do everything in story. And I mean, even the side stories or side chapters, right, is going to give a good amount of XP for when you get it. You want to do it when you get it because then you're not going to feel like it afterwards. This is a pretty big thing, right? Well, in my opinion, right? Because 8K, once you're like even a couple further, is not that big. For example, like, can I go here? 8K goes to 12K, right? So there's a pretty like decent jump for the side chapters. It gives lefts, but it is definitely important. And of course, doing hard, not even just for the XP, but also for all of the materials you get. Like, this is so huge. Being able to get a bunch of these free to play is going to be very important for you guys. Now, besides that, gates, okay? Gates are going to be giving you some XP, and it's mainly going to be from the bone. Oh, I haven't I need to do more runs. Anyway, you're going to get these bonus for the first time. I think it's the first 10 runs, if I remember correctly. And then afterwards, you're going to get a little bit here for like just doing all that. I'm not going to use my sweeps yet. We're going to work on that later. Usually going for the high scan is fine, but let's say you're like low on time. You could put the scans a bit lower to actually be able to sweep more of them. Because for example, let's say I put it at 21, right? Obviously less rewards, but technically I can't do it on an S. But for example, like I mean, I will check here, like I'll be able to use more hunters because it's lower power needed to sweep, for example. So that's one, well, the two main ways. And then you've also obviously got the activity funds. All right. So the activity funds, you could get the claim for this like it's basically your AFK. I don't like that it's max 24 hours, but it's whatever. And then you've also got special funds if you did buy the monthly, if I remember correctly, that's how you get it. So I hope that made sense. Basically tried to explain it as well as I could for you guys. Make sure you guys sub for more content. I really do want to push out more solo leveling, and with Black Clover, man, it's a lot, but honestly, I'm having a lot of fun making content right now, so that's a very, very, very good thing. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.